Fort Belvoir. Welcome to the Belvoir in the Know, the only podcast created especially for the Fort Belvoir community to help you stay in the know on the go. I'm Colonel Josh Seagraves, the Garrison Commander, and today we've got a special guest and a special topic. So today's topic is all about health and wellness and what we can do to live and maintain a more healthy lifestyle. Today's special guest for this episode is the director of the Armed Forces Wellness Center, and we'll be discussing the new resources available on Fort Belvoir that will help us to stay ready, resilient, and fit, which is perfect timing, particularly for March, since it's National Nutrition Month, and wellness is obviously a major part of a balanced lifestyle. So, this wellness center is a major accomplishment that's been in the works for quite a while. In fact, it's an initiative started in MDW by Major General Jones, the MDW commander, in partnership with the Fort Belvoir Community Hospital and the Garrison. It's the 35th wellness center that has been stood up in the Army, and it's really the first joint forces or armed forces wellness center in DOD. Today's special guest is Ms. Nicole Leth, Director of the Armed Forces Wellness Center. So, Nicole, welcome. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, thank you for having me, sir. So happy to be here and really excited about this project. And thank you for all of your time and dedication and support of this project. We really appreciate that. So I'm your director here at Fort Belvoir. I just came from the Camp Humphreys Korea Wellness Center. And so I have a fair amount of background within this enterprise, but then also in the field of health and wellness. I worked as a paramedic for several years, which is where I got really passionate about public health and nutrition. So I worked very rural EMS in Texas and very urban EMS in New York. And I get really passionate and fired up about this topic. So any questions are welcome, and just super excited to be here with you today.
Great. What else you gave a little bit about what led you to pursue an interest in fitness and nutrition, but anything else you'd like to highlight for the audience?
Absolutely. So it's, through my time in emergency services, a lot of what we do in EMS is not a lot of the fun stuff you see on TV. I mean, we do trauma, right? But we do a lot of chronic disease care. And so we take care of people with cardiovascular disease, cancer, diabetes. And that led me to be really passionate about public health and how can we get on the preventative side of the house, right? How do we keep people out of the back of an ambulance? And then working with our military population, just trying to keep everybody ready and resilient. I myself am a military spouse of 16 years. And so I understand what that's like on both sides. And so I want our families to be ready and resilient. I want our service members to be, and then taking care of our retirees is also a passion, and our civilians, because when we work together holistically as one team, we need everybody, fit to fight and ready to support and be there to support the team. So that's important to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm guessing that because you're a military spouse, that's what brought you to Fort Belvoir?
It is, yes. And super happy to be back in this area. It's great. And it's, being a spouse, and I'll speak to those spouses out there, it's a challenge, right? We have to move, we have to jive, we give up, careers that we really love and are passionate about. We have to, if we have children, we have to situate them, we have to start over and make new friendships. So we can be driving that struggle bus sometimes. And I love that the Wellness Center provides a resource, to connect with spouses and get them, feeling ready and resilient. And then that also kind of creates a sense of community, right? Like you can start to tap into not only that resource, but other resources on the installation or garrison, and, find where your people are. So I really appreciate that at so many of our installations, CONUS and OCONUS, that's an outlet and a resource for spouses.
Yeah. Wow. That was, I think we should just end it right there, because you just summed it up. I mean, that was a great rundown before we even asked any questions. So that was good. Okay. But really, I will ask some questions so everybody can learn a little bit more about it. So can you talk a little bit about how the concept began, and then how it went from a virtual wellness center to reality, sort of who it serves, what services are offered, and then where will the building be physically located?
Absolutely. So this has been, a labor of love, starting with, General Jones being fired up about this mission, and then, the garrison throwing its support behind it, which is fantastic. And so, but you gotta crawl before you can walk, then you can run. And so we're coming out of our crawl into our walk, and we'll be running here shortly. We are operating out of Fort Belvoir Community Hospital right now. We just have one room, so our ability to serve the community is small kind right now. But we'll get that up and more robust here shortly. We should be moving into our new space mid-May, and that'll be fantastic. I don't want to give a hard date on that because, as we all know, the best laid plans. But our new building will be located right behind the Dunkin' Donuts drive-through and PenFed Bank, and so a really good location on the installation for people to access services. And we will be, once we're in that space, then we will be able to offer a significantly higher amount of appointment slots will become open.
Great. That's great. And then when we talk about like services and programs for the Wellness Center, specifically ones that support resilience and living a healthy lifestyle, what would you say are your most requested services or programs? And then will you have any that are focused on youth or teens?
So great questions. And I think it depends on the communities that are being served, right? So in Korea, we had a lot of, it was a younger service member population, and a lot of individuals were there unaccompanied. And so just kind of a different population. And so people may be more interested in coming in, whether it was, body composition testing, which we're currently doing with ultrasound technology right now. But once we're in the building, the bod pod is here. We've named her Bella. It's very exciting. Get ready. So the bod pod will be in the building. We do metabolic assessments. And let me just preface this too. So right after I got I have my master's degree in public health and nutrition. So I'm not a registered dietitian, so I can't give prescriptive dietary guidance, but I can absolutely do a deep dive into nutrition and do nutrition coaching with individuals. But I did an internship with the University of Colorado in Denver, and they have this amazing center there called the Anschutz Health and Wellness Center. And if you've ever watched the TV show, it's not The Biggest Loser. It was the one that took them over an entire year. It was with Chris and Heidi. They were the coaches. Anyway, when that show started, they did services in California at the Health and Longevity Institute. And then the second and third seasons of that show were filmed at Anschutz. Anschutz is amazing. And they have all the resources that we have here in the Wellness Center, right? So you can do metabolic testing. They have the bod pod. They've got the coaches. They do all the things. At that time, and this was 7 years ago, you would pay over $3,000 just to have the assessments done. So not to have your results interpreted for you, not to receive any kind of guidance or coaching or follow-up. And all of this is free here.
Yeah.
So
great point.
I mean, right, just phenomenal that we can access this. And you won't see this tech outside of a service like that, or maybe, on an NFL team, right? Like, phenomenal that we have this support. So anyway, so we can do body composition, metabolic testing. One of the biggest things we've been hit up since getting our boots on the ground here is stress management services.
Yeah.
And so we do, that's a big part of what we do. And coming in, just to begin with, you come in for health coaching, we're going to sit with you and we're going to talk, right? We all have individual barriers. Most of us know the right and wrong things to do, but sometimes you just need to troubleshoot with somebody, and you might need to just kind of like walk that dog. Like, how is this going to look for me in my real life? What makes sense? What doesn't? What are my food preferences? All those good things. So that health coaching is part of it. But then with stress management, we also talk about those barriers and what we're facing. And so